New superseding indictment has been filed by the special counsel in the by special counsel Robert Mueller in connection with Paul Manafort's case. NBC News investigative reporter Tom Winter is here with me in the newsroom. Tom, explain this to us.
So, Katie, Paul Manafort's been hit with another indictment in his D.C. case, and we have a new name in this, although it's a name we've reported about before. That's Konstantin Kilimnik. He's an individual that worked with Paul Manafort in Ukraine. He's known as a kind of a political fixer, political ideologue in that part of the world. He's also somebody that the U.S. government has linked with Russian intelligence, somebody that Paul Manafort has done business with for a significant period of time. Here's what's new today. There's been 2 counts of obstruction of justice, 1 count each, obstruction of justice, and another count of conspiracy to obstruct justice. This goes to the witness tampering allegations that we first heard about earlier this week, in that Paul Manafort and Konstantin Kilimnik, according to this indictment, did conspire to influence, delay, and prevent the testimony of several people that they had done business with as part of this pro-Ukrainian lobbying effort that had been going on several years ago. And so the new charges today relate to that. It's the first time that we're seeing Konstantin Kilimnik being named in Robert Mueller's papers. In addition to that, Paul Manafort is also going to be facing some new charges of false and misleading FARA statements. So that's the
foreign registry,
right? Foreign registration that you have to do. So if you're working for another government within the United States, lobbying, doing media outreach, certain efforts on their behalf, you have to register with the Justice Department. And so Manafort has gotten in trouble for this before, tied with this case. And today we see some additional counts and some additional information about those efforts and what he didn't do to register.
Last we heard about Manafort, we heard about these messages he was sending over encrypted apps to try and, it seems, get people on the same page for their testimony.
Exactly.
Robert Mueller wanted to put him in jail, revoke his bail.
Revoke or modify, that's correct.
It was a violation of that. Where does that stand? When is the judge going to decide on that?
So, Katie, we had anticipated hearing from Paul Manafort's attorneys today. For them, they had to file by the end of the day today a filing with the judge stating what their response was to all of this and what he was doing, reaching out to these people and providing some sort of a court filing response. And then next Friday, Paul Manafort is due to be in court, where a judge may make a decision there on the spot and either revoke his bail or find some way to further restrict it. That's what he's looking at. But today he's now been hit with actual charges. We knew there was a flurry of activity in the grand jury area of the D.C. District Courthouse today. We had one of our producers there, and so we know that the people that were handling or have been involved with the Manafort case were there today. So we assume that the grand jury perhaps voted on this, and the superseding indictment filed just a few moments ago.
It seems like Robert Mueller is really turning the screws on Manafort.
There's every single way that Manafort has turned here where he has done something that may be afoul of the law. Again, he hasn't gone to trial. He's said he's not guilty of all this conduct. But every single time he has taken a turn, Robert Mueller has been there to meet him with new charges. They've been there to meet him when he's reached out to people in the past. They've been there to reach out when he tried to ghostwrite an article in violation of a gag order. Everything he is doing, and we know because they've executed search warrants according to court filings on his phone since he's been arrested. At every turn, he is doing something that they think runs afoul of the legal process. They're there to meet him with new charges, new filings, and they've been very open about it.
Again, the only hints we're getting in the special counsel investigation come from their court filings, and a lot of those court filings have pertained directly to Paul Manafort, like they did again today. Tom Winter, thank you so much for reading that so quickly.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.